Leonne Sherr here. I am sitting here with Heather McNally, and this is the WonderMama Coffee Chat. Every week, I try to bring us really great guests, and Heather's been with us before, so you know she's awesome. Um, but it's a little different because I'm the one that came with a topic today, and it came to me from a post. And today we're going to talk about the Lighthouse era of momming. And I'm going to read you a post, and so but before I only read half of it, and Heather's like, "Don't make me cry." So, but I think the coffee chat is always about us growing and learning and leaning into each other about all of the things in our lives, the things that make us who we are and why we do things. And being a empty nester, it's a really big thing, but lighthouse era happens before that. So let me read this post that I found first, just to get us started, keep us honest on this one. All right, so this was from Fit with Grit and Grace on Instagram, and she shared somebody else's. I heard someone describe this season of motherhood as the lighthouse era, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. When our kids are little, we're on a boat with them. We're packing the bags, buckling the car seats, wiping the tears, and solving the problems, reminding them what they forgot, and helping them navigate every wave that comes their way. For so long, their world is our world. And then, almost without realizing it, something begins to shift. They start steering their own boats. They venture a little farther from shore. They make more of their own decisions, and they need us differently than they used to. And we become the lighthouse, still there, still watching, still steady, keeping the light on so they always know where home is. And I think, she says, I think I'm somewhere in that transition between the two. This part stopped me because I started thinking about, this is me talking again, but I started thinking about where it actually starts. It starts pretty young, doesn't it? Okay, she goes on. Some days I'm still very much in the boat with them. Other days I can feel them sailing farther into lives that they are becoming more and more their own. And every once in a while, they invite me into their boat. They tell me something they didn't have to tell me, or ask what I think, or let me into their world for a little while and give me a glimpse of the view from where they are now. And I'm learning not to grab the wheel, just to be grateful to be invited aboard. Because maybe this next season of motherhood isn't about being needed less. Maybe it's about learning how to love them from the shore. Maybe it's about being steady, to be present, to keep that light on, and to trust that no matter how far they sail, they will always know how to find their way home. And she asked a question. Which season of motherhood are you in right now? Still in the boat, somewhere in between, or learning to be a lighthouse? She thanked Wander and Scout for sharing the metaphor. And I just want to thank both of them for sharing the metaphor to allow us to talk about that today. So Heather, thank you for being here with me just to be in this space of being a lighthouse. So when do you think that lighthouse essence begins.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me be here. I love having conversations with you. I think it depends on the kid. It really does. With my oldest, he was a little bit more of a mama's boy than my youngest. They both are, but and I'm an empty nester now. I felt the tears kind of perking up and all the emotions because I'm a very emotional woman and I always knew I wanted kids and that I would love being a mom. And so you embrace it so strongly and even if you didn't know that you were going to love being a mom, something can change in you and you have this realization that you have these children that you're responsible for and that you would give anything for, and then they start to grow up and it's before you're ready. and and there's no stopping it. So I remember thinking when my oldest turned 5 that I was like, "Oh my God, he's not a baby anymore." And of course he wasn't a baby, he was a toddler, but oh, he's going to go to school and start meeting people and having a life besides what happens here at home. And so I think when he started going to school, that started to realize like he was 3.5. And I was like, "Ugh, other people are taking him. I'm not with him, and I don't know what's happening."
Yeah,
And I wasn't sad, but it was like, oh, wow, he's starting to become a person. Yeah.
yeah.
And my youngest was fiercely independent, I think, the second he came out of the womb. So he was always trying to build his own life.
I think about that too. Thank you for that. But, I think about that too and how it how it felt. And I think I also was growing up with my children. I'm also an empty nexter. I call them nexting because we're nexting.
Mhm,
Um, and I'm also a grandmother. And that feeling doesn't really change, right?
mhm,
Um, I'm not the sole captain of the boat, but I'm another captain of the boat. And I'm thinking about when it like that question, like when do you think it starts?
mhm,
I think there are some really definite, clear stages in children's lives. Um, and that first stage, they're sponges. They're
mhm,
learning so much. And I think, I think it's maybe smaller steps, but I think between new to 8, they are soaking up how to do life from,
mhm.
and then like 8 years old, really, it started at 5. My grandson's like, I'm about to be 5. And I was like, stop it. I mean, don't stop it, but you know, what are you talking about, little person? Um, but I think until they're 8, they're soaking up how to navigate life, how to respond emotionally, how to respond, how do we think? They're watching us.
Mhm,
How do we do that? And they're watching, all of the things. And then they start asking for more rope on
mhm,
their boat, we start doing different things. And for me, it was 8. For
mhm.
me, that was 8. Like
Yeah.
when I could let them do things where my eyes weren't on them every minute.
Yes, yes. Because I mean, until then, every time you go somewhere, you feel like you have to be on top of them. They don't know what they're, running into. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know, even like when you go to an open park with other parents with their kids, we're still teaching them how to have manners and how to interact with the world. Once they get to that 8 to 10-year-old age, they really start like their friendships start taking a lot more of their time. The extracurricular activities they get into, whether it be sports or dance or music or whatever, they start getting into those things. And I think that that starts to pull them away a little bit. And the funny thing is, one thing I noticed myself asking questions like, oh, what did you guys do when you were at so and so's house or when you were out here, with the other parents or whatever? Because you have to start letting go. And they'd be like, oh, especially my boys. Oh, I don't know. We went here. Oh, we just did this. I'm like,
Okay.
no
Oh,
details, right? Or how was your day? Fine. And I actually said to them, I just want to still know you.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that was a dagger in my own heart that I threw.
Yeah.
Um, and um, yeah.
So that's interesting, right? That thing that, so it's we know what they're doing,
Hmm.
but what are we doing? When we're not actually paying attention that it's okay to let that out a
Hmm.
little bit because that builds a different kind of relationship.
Yeah.
With my first son, I was, oh my gosh, such a helicopter.
Mm.
So much for I think, I I think I didn't let him breathe much. Um, and he kind of resented me for that.
Mm.
Um, but it all feels the same. Like when we're not paying attention, I'm not going to talk about that too much today. Talk about that
Breathe.
too much today.
Yeah.
Like I was a little bit of a helicopter. I was very much so. And that built that we'll talk about it. That did build a little bit of resentment and frustration, a little bit of mistrust from him to me
Hmm.
because I wasn't trusting him that he had the good stuff in him.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that was a really difficult time for us to grow through.
Mm.
You know, he is a glorious man now and will have his 40th birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Ali. He but it was really challenging and he pulled away from me. He literally jumped off the boat, swam away, went found his other boat, a speedboat that like zoomed really far away and it was really traumatic, right? So
Hmm.
I love the metaphor of, being the lighthouse and I didn't know how to turn my light on
Hmm.
because I was so hurt
Yeah.
by the trauma of all of that and it took
Hmm.
me some time while he was away to turn my light back on
Yeah.
for him. And when I did, he came home
Mm.
and we were able to repair. It was a couple of years we were estranged, and that was hard.
Mm. Yeah, I can only imagine.
That was really hard and horrible, and um, I was part of that.
Mm.
I was a big part of that, and it was in that time where I started doing the deeper work. Like, how can I show up for my children, for myself, for my family,
Mm.
for the people within my, not spreading it too big because how could I show up in the world, but keeping it within an arena that I could navigate
Hmm.
better.
Yeah, and if you tried to do it for the whole world, it's so big
It's
to
overwhelming,
take everything on all at once. It's too big,
right?
really.
Setting ourselves up for failure, and that's
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I always try to give myself grace on is that, okay, I messed this up. And all right, I can sit here and beat myself up over it. And believe me, I've done that because I've had moments with my kids where I didn't necessarily say the right things or do the right things. And I don't mean like something horrible. I just mean we're all humans. We're flawed human beings and we're all learning as we go. But the fact that you worked through it and we're like, all right, I have to do something to figure this out. People can look at that and say, but she turned that light back on and he came home.
yes.
And so you learn a lot from everything you experience. And every kid is different, and
Mhm.
every mom is different, and every stage of being a mom is different. Like, you said you grew up together. So you
Yeah.
were so young when you had him. How would you know all the right things,
Well,
especially if they hadn't been shown to you?
Oh no, I have a lot of grace for myself and for him, right?
Yeah.
And in turn, that required me to have a lot of grace for him.
Hmm.
And then there was my next son who um I was more of my best friend. Poor guy.
Mm.
Poor guy. Right? So a different kind of tether
Hmm.
in parenting. Um my my other son, I let him see more of my flaws and less of my anchor.
Hmm.
So again, less of a lighthouse to him. Hey, Scotty. Um, than than I hoped to be. And I didn't realize that.
Mm.
Again, another thing, being human and growing up and growing with your children,
Hmm.
making mistakes and loving them through that. One thing none of my children ever wondered was how loved they were,
Mm.
and are. They
Yeah.
are my favorite people, but learning to be just simply a lighthouse, I feel like it's ongoing.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like I'm still growing up. And
Mm,
it's so funny because I remember seeing my mom. I remember writing a card to her when she was 36. I made my own card and I actually found it years later. And she was turning 36. And I remember thinking, she knows everything. And now I'm like, I'm 53 and I still feel like a child, like I'm an imposter living in this adult body, taking care of these children that I raised. And I'm like, wow, I did it somehow. And I'm still doing it because they're still growing and learning.
they're alive and they're not
Yes.
to the world.
You know,
They got
before my kids, I had a cat with all these plants, and I was raising my plants, and my cat ate them all. And I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to be a mom? I can't stop my cat from eating the babies. But uh,
yeah,
I do remember, looking back and saying, wow, I thought she had it all figured out. And I certainly know I still don't have it all figured out, and nobody ever does.
yeah,
And I think that we're always growing with them, no matter how old we were when we had them. And every kid is so different too. Um, and I remember two things with one friend in particular. One of them was when I had my oldest and she had her oldest, and they were 6 weeks apart. And she didn't understand why, instead of just telling my oldest no, and that was it, and walking away when he would ask a question, I would kind of say no, but then I'd redirect him to get his attention off of it. And he was just such an emotional being that it was like if I said no, he felt so hurt.
mhm,
He took it so personally. And then we each had the next kid who were also 6 weeks apart. Somehow this worked out. And she was like, remember how I said that to you? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I get it now. And I'm like, yeah, because they're so different. So what you do with each one, where sometimes you have to let go sooner or later. And, it depends on the kid. Because my youngest one, if I said no, that was it. Okay. And off he went to do something else, and I'm gonna go do something else then. And it was very different. They're very different people. But the older one, I would say that my light has had to shine differently on him than my younger one. And it was kind of, I'm glad that they were born in that order. I think because if my first one had been so fiercely independent, and then I learned, it might have been harder for me emotionally, but also I would have learned to turn that light on differently. And then the second one, I would have been like, oh, he's different and he needs more.
mhm,
So they're all so different. And the other thing she had said to me was, and this so reminds me of that when you were reading that post, is she said her oldest daughter said to her one day, hey, Mom, did you know that one day you picked me up and then put me down, and that was the last time you ever picked me up? And I was like, ugh. And that's the thing. Sometimes you don't even realize it's happening when it's happening,
yeah,
and you're releasing them
yeah.
in some way, shape, or form because they're growing and they have different needs and desires and you have to start letting go. And it can be hard, but also it can be so beautiful. You just have to figure it out. And that's the hardest part because we're all so different.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing both of us say is that, it's kind of noticing when
Mm,
noticing when something is shifting and noticing, you know, your connection to it, right?
mm,
They are your We're single focused on our babies.
mm-hmm.
You know, it once you have one, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
but that's not the same for everyone
right.
based on the relationships that they have and who they are, but it doesn't
Yep.
make anyone a bad parent.
Mm-hmm.
What it means is, can we be lighthouses for our 5-year-old?
Mm,
Okay, we know that they're not that far away. They're still like within the fence, but they know that this is their lighthouse, right?
mm-hmm.
And so, and when they venture a little bit farther and a little bit farther, how do we stay that kind of safe space
Mm,
for our children? And honestly, what I'm wondering is is our next or our role here as moms to continue to grow so that we are that,
mm,
you know? Because they do become our friends. They do become they step into adulthood and but they're not our friends. We're still their parent.
mm-hmm.
And we have to remember our children still need us to be their parent
Yeah.
in holding that safe space and continuing to be that lighthouse.
Yes.
So when they say I'm going home, that's what they mean,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. So mine are one starting 24 next month, the other one's 20. And they live out of state. Well, one's in college, but he's going to be there for 8 years total. So he's only finished his second year. He's actually in the Dominican Republic right now doing a study abroad. And woo, that was like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
going to be living with somebody else for months, not even in the same country as me. And he's fiercely independent, fiercely independent. So I had to share with him, I'm so excited for you because I'm thrilled for him to be doing this. But this is also a little bit hard for mom
Mhm.
because this is another step in your independence. And I know that you're fiercely independent, but you were part of me at one point. I feel like my heart is out there in the world, and now it's going further away. And I can't just like get there. I can't drive even where he is now 12 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And so what's been beautiful is he's been great about just sending a quick text. Well, he loves seeing pictures of himself when he was young. So when memories come up on like Facebook, I'll screenshot and send it to him. And he's like, oh my God, that's so funny or so cute or whatever. But he's been great about just quick responses and then every maybe week or so giving me a call.
Yeah.
And
That's a lighthouse moment.
it is because I ask him how he's doing and I give him somewhere to check in if he wants to talk about something. And sometimes he smack talks things, and sometimes he is like, oh, I didn't realize this, or, there are things. One of the things he said to me when he moved into this house that he's living in with a bunch of other college students,
Yeah.
is, oh my God, I got this text from him and he was like, oh my God, mom. I didn't know how you were teaching me a skill, how to clean. And then the next text says, these people I live with have no idea how to clean. And then the next one was like, thank you for teaching me that skill. And I was like, oh, you still see moments that come up that they appreciate what you've done. And
Yeah.
you go, oh, okay. So, that's, the things that you say to them when you're like being the mom, because yes, as they get older, you become more friends with them, but
Yes.
also you're still mom. And when they notice something that you've been teaching them all along and they comment on it, and they acknowledge something that you've done as a mom, it's like, oh, okay, you
Okay.
know?
Okay. We
The
have
light has been working.
Yes, you're like, and you're doing it. We have a couple people on Facebook now. Welcome, and please, if you have anything to share on
Mm,
this topic, it's kind of obviously a sensitive one, right?
mm.
Being light bulb moments. Hi, Mo. She made it in. Um, Feel free to come off the mic and jump into this conversation. Mo, you're becoming an empty nexter.
Yeah, I love that. Empty Nexter. That is hilarious. I was like, whoa, it's like Sandra Bullock in Gravity. I literally except I am the mothership, but I guess the mothership was based on the satellites around me. And so yeah, it's exciting. I'm just coming. It was so funny because I just did a lesson, so it's the same time as yours, and I got out of it and I hear you talking. I'm like, where is this? And it was on Facebook. Wait, I'm not in there. I don't know what's happening. No, but this is so great. So just hearing what you're saying about your son, she's going off to not too far. I'm in Houston, Texas. She's going off to UT Austin, University of Texas at Austin in August next month. And but just yeah, you hope that you equip them with the things. And like she is my baby. My oldest is 32, and then I got my 24-year-old, and then my baby 18. And she is such a princess. My sister's after me all the time for doing everything for her because I may have a few control issues when it comes to laundry. But you know what? And she's like, well, how's she gonna learn? I was like, mom never taught me. She never taught me how to do laundry. I figured it out. I'll figure it out. And she'll look at, and she knows that she can call me like, how do I do this? Right. So I think it's really, yes, I coddle her, but at the same time, she knows that she can call me. And I think that's really the greatest thing. Like being a parent, I always say, I just want my kids to be happy and gainfully employed. That's it.
Mm,
That's all. That's all. And I feel like I've won. So I love how your son will message you and yes, and they really do start to appreciate you being
mhm.
outside. Like, and my daughter will tell me that when she'll go to other people's houses. Like we have a very modest little home here, and her friends live in these massive mansions and everything, but they always love to come to our little hobbit hole because it's just homey. And that's why I always wanted to have a place for my kids to feel at home. So, and we're moving into a new apartment. She's like, our apartment. Like you're not
Oh, for sure.
don't worry, I will still have the shrine set up for you. So yeah, it's a lot of changes, but I'm excited. I mean, this is exciting. I'm excited for her and I'm excited for me too. And the whole lighthouse, which my son is getting me a tattoo. I've been wanting it for here, the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. I'm putting it right here because lighthouses to our children, but we are all lighthouse. We are all shedding light or darkness as we go out in the world. So it's nobody's off the hook. You don't have to even be a parent to be a lighthouse. So it's such a wonderful concept. I love
Oh, I
that.
love that.
Loved it so much. So today, my guest had an emergency at work, could not be here, and I read this post, and I'm like, Heather, can you come and talk with me about this? Um, and I thought of you, and there's so many women in my immediate life right now who are going through this season of they're actually leaving. Though we did talk about the fact that this actually starts really young, 3, 4, 5 years old, when we start giving them a little bit more length, a little bit more space. But for me, when my last child left, he when he moved out, I honestly, it felt like falling off a cliff. Like I'm like, who am I now? It was really hard. Now it's okay. He lives in Montana. He's in the Air Force and he's doing well. My first son, when he left for the Marine Corps, I physically responded to every new order that happened with him. Physically responded. Some things I would hear, I'm like, oh, I don't know where he is in the world. That was not okay with my body. you know? And so talking about letting go of our children, allowing ourselves to be the lighthouse, to what distance can you let go? And I think it's paying attention to your nervous system, you know, to the level that your nervous system can tolerate, and then titrate yourself back a little bit,
Mhm.
knowing that you put in all of the good stuff, and it starts so young.
I
Oof.
think there's a piece of identity there that you have to work on in your life that took me a long time to figure out. But when you start to be okay with who you are, you have less of that putting it on other people.
Mhm.
And, a lesson I learned from my grandmother, who I loved dearly, my mom's mom, she was a beautiful soul, but she put a lot of pressure on her kids to be the person for her. She had five children, and she closed her circle of people in her life over time. And I found that seeing my mom and one of her siblings who were physically closest to her and also emotionally super close to her, I saw what pressure it was because they felt like they had to be that for her. And so I kind of learned that, oh, I can't do that. Even when there were moments where it was like, no, don't walk away. No, don't go there. I need you. And it was like, no, I can't. And so becoming aware of your own identity and that your identity has to be about you, not about all about your family, but you have to be your own person in your relationship with your kids, because you can't put it all on them. And then it makes it a little easier to see them growing to be their own individual. That doesn't mean it's easy, it makes it easier.
Mm. So we are at the 30-minute, 32-minute mark of live streaming. So we're going to stop the live stream. But before we do, would each of you share? I'm going to leave the question out there for the world, but where are you, moms and dads, in the lighthouse era of your life in the parenting realm? Where are you?
I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing on Lighthouse.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just give me a
So,
little recap.
so
I mean, I know the concept, but yeah.
the concept, so where do you think you are? You in the being you and letting them be them. How are you doing?
Oh, my mom taught me that. My mom was a very wonderful mother, and my daughter was having a crisis the other day, and we watched the movie Black Swan. Don't watch it with your daughter. But I love that she comes, she goes, she has nobody to go to. Like that's what she thought was most tragic. She had, and I don't know if you've seen the movie Black Swan with Natalie Portman. It
Yep.
is pretty intensities, but that was her observation. It's like she felt so bad for her because she had nobody in her life to support her. Like everybody wanted something from her, and she just and and I started thinking of my own mom and how she was always there for me no matter what. And I mean, two kids out of wedlock, divorce. I had went to Europe when everyone else went to college. I mean, I put my mom through the ringer. But my mother also let us fall.
Mhm.
She let us make our mistakes. She was there as a soft place to land. And also she raised us with wonderful faith. Faith in God. My relationship with God has strengthened tenfold recently, but she always planted those seeds. And I thank my mom so much, 'cause I was just thinking about this, watching that movie and my daughter's observation, because I'm thinking she doesn't feel that way. She doesn't feel like she has nowhere to go. She doesn't feel like she's alone in the world. And that's wonderful. And I just wrote about it this morning in my journal. And that's really so where I am is just sitting back and watching and just waiting if she needs me, being there to catch her if she falls, and to steady her steps. Not to do it for her, It's not like laundry because the all the growing pains, that's different. All that other stuff is just like she cooks and she does all those things. She drives and all, and she'll go to the grocery store for me and things like that. But it's those emotional things you got to let them feel the feelings. You got to let them and not gloss over. So being able to understand where you end and your child begins is such a healthy thing to have, and it can be very entangled. So I've seen it in other parents, and so my mom just wasn't like that. And but she wasn't not caring either. She was very compassionate as well. So she balanced it really well. She was the kind of person that did we did family holidays, and then she would go on holidays with her girlfriends or her sisters or with my stepdad. Like she was very good at taking care of herself while taking care of us. And I think that's wonderful. And I think it's a wonderful thing because and then when my son was in the hospital a few years ago, he had a brain tumor. He had to have brain surgery, and he was married. He still is married to the same wonderful woman. And I knew my place. I am the mom, but I am not the pole position anymore. I
Right.
was there to support Savannah, his wife. Like if she needed advice, she needed anything, I was there. Or I'll go get smoothies, or I'll go get food, or I'll go do whatever, but it's understanding your role in things because our kids have to learn. I think there's too many kids living in basements right now. Like
Mhm.
our kids need to understand it's okay to feel pain. It's okay. It's actually part of life, and it's actually what helps us grow and experience and suck the marrow from what is life. And so
Yeah.
I don't know where that puts me on the lighthouse
Well, where
scale,
that
but
puts you? Where's that put you? Well, you're holding your breath a little bit, but that's okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
You're holding your breath a
I
little bit.
haven't
That's
exhaled since 1993.
okay. I
That
haven't
first
had
kid
to
popped
take a
out.
deep breath since then. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, but it feels good though. I'm proud of my kids. They're all independent, but they also know where mom is, and that's it's I mean, who knows what's gonna happen in the next 5 minutes tomorrow, but I got no control over that. So, all we can do is the best we can right now and let them have space to grow.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing to do.
So you're letting her drive your boat, but you've got your binoculars on.
Exactly right. Yes,
And the
yes.
lighthouse is on. It's on.
Lighthouse is on. You are
Okay.
safe. Yes,
Yeah.
I will guide you from a reasonable distance.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I grew up in like the lighthouse corridor, so I
Love
love
it.
the whole concept.
Yes. How about you, Heather, before we
I
get
love this whole thing. So first of all, one of the things that you said that really hit me was, you don't want kids living in your basement. It's like a permanent thing.
Yeah,
There's always that temporary, right? Up here.
absolutely,
And
absolutely,
that's one of the things that I feel like I've really done with my kids is shown them that this home is always your home if you need it to be.
absolutely, absolutely.
And you are always welcome, no questions asked, and I'm here for you. But
Hmm.
also, I love that you're being independent. I love that you're living on your own. And so, my oldest one has always been a little bit more emotionally, he's super emotionally intelligent, but he's had some, mental health issues with depression. And same as me. He's like me in a female in a male form.
Yeah,
And so that's hard for me sometimes because it's like I just want to hold him, but I know I can't. And so we have very open, uh, incredibly open conversations about anything and everything. And I love that he calls me quite a few times a week just to chat. And that's where the friendship is there, but also I'll say to him, all right, now I just need to put my mom hat on for a minute and just point out, whatever. And of course I can hear his eyes rolling in his head, but that's where I feel like I've still got to put that lighthouse out there and be like, okay, mom's just talking for a minute and you need to hear what I'm saying and you can do with it what you want. But I feel I need to say this because I am your mom. And he hears it. Actually, both my boys do. Whether they're rolling their eyes like crazy, their eyes might be popping out of their head. I love that I can still say it. They still hear it. And that's important to me. And I've always said, I started out with, I just want you to be a happy, healthy person. And then at very young ages, one day I said, I want you to be a happy, healthy, contributing member of society.
yeah, exactly.
Because I don't want them living in my basement at 40 years old thinking this is where I belong for
Yeah,
my whole life and I'm just gonna shut down. And success so far.
So where are you on your lighthouse?
Where am I in my lighthouse right now is I think I have found a fairly beautiful place where I can shine the light on them, but I can also let them come to me and we can be friends, but I still am able to say, I'm always here. You
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
always tell me anything. And I'll ask them, do you feel like you can talk to me about anything? And they're like, yeah, like without a doubt. And so that thrills me. I mean, my husband and I are considering moving to Ireland, and I've told them, you are welcome there, you are welcome here, you are welcome wherever we are as home if you need it to be,
Yeah.
if you want it to be, but also just to talk. And
Yeah.
so that's the best part is the conversations I have with them now,
Yeah.
where I can be friendly with them, but also share the wisdom I may have gained or whatever that is like, hopefully you'll get something out of this.
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that,
I
Heather.
love that.
That's so great. It's so true. It's just those open communication and
Mhm.
like I said, a safe place to land. Like you don't like I don't care. Like I said, I'll love you no matter what. I met a woman one time who said I was like, she was we were talking about unconditional love and she was like, "Oh, I don't believe in unconditional love." And I was like, "But you have children." And she said, "Yeah, no, that comes with conditions." I was like, "Ah." No, my kid
Oh,
could be the worst
boundary. No
serial
kidding.
killer on the
Part.
planet. I would still love them. I would not condone their actions,
Right.
but I just like, what? You're a monster. No, just kidding. I
Well,
was like,
we have
wow,
to
what happened to you
we
in
have
your
to stop
childhood?
the live stream,
Oh,
and
sorry.
we're over about 10 minutes, but I want to just say that what happens next is I don't have to have my lighthouse on anymore because what has happened in the adults that I have raised is they all have become lighthouses for their children. And
Yeah,
Mm.
that feels really good. And
yeah,
I can follow their light if I need it. And so now it's more reciprocal than ever. And so I hope that I feel truly blessed. And I hope that we all get there in that place where we can all just be guiding lights for each other when our lights are feeling dim, for our children, for the people that we serve and the people that we love. And I am so grateful the two of you jumped on with me today for this kind of cool conversation. Gonna have to have maybe a couple more. And we're gonna stop the live stream and drop into a private conversation as we always do inside the Wonder Mama community. And um, just be well, continue to be a lighthouse for your children, for your family, and check back next week. Next Wednesday, I have DJ Stutz. You're going to love her. This woman wowed me from hello, and I can't wait for you to introduce you to her. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon.